Hi, everybody. Jennifer Schaus here, coming to you live today from Washington, D.C., and thank you for joining us in our Webinar Wednesday series. This year, as you may know, in 2023, we are covering the top 40 government contractors and looking at some of their contracting trends, defense contracts, civilian contracts, and subcontracting opportunities. So today we are in the third week of the series, and we're going to cover general dynamics. But before we get started, I'm going to run through a couple important pieces of information. First and foremost, that today's webinar and all of our webinars are complimentary and recorded. If you sign up for our YouTube alerts, it doesn't cost you anything, nor do the recordings. You'll be alerted as soon as this webinar is uploaded. And the link is provided there. If you're looking for the PowerPoints for any of our webinars, you can find them on the slideshare.net website. Those are also complimentary. And a quick blurb about us. We are based in downtown DC and work with established federal government contractors, primarily helping them with GSA schedule matters, but other services are listed here. You can also find more out about us on our website under the About Us section. We also put on events, webinars, and conferences throughout the year. You can find those on our website under the events section or under the webinar section. Our YouTube library now holds, I believe we're almost up to 600. I think that 570 is a little bit off, but again, all of those are complimentary videos about government contracting. Our newsletter goes out on Mondays and hits almost 25,000 subscribers, most of which are government contractors. And we now have over 26,000 LinkedIn followers. So basically what we're saying here is if you want to advertise with us, you can shoot us an email at the hello@jenniferschaus.com email address, and somebody from the marketing team will respond to you with our media kit. We have an event coming up on Monday, March 20th. This is our quarterly event over at the Kennedy Center in Washington, D.C., the premier location for the performing arts. We are up on the terrace level in the cafe, and we've got a good group of both government and sponsors who will be with us. NavAir, NavFec, Commerce's MBDA, HHS, DHS, Education, Metro, and Amtrak, and a great group of sponsors here, including BidSpeed, who is one of our sponsors in today's webinar series. We also want to thank the Virginia PTAC and the Greater Reston Chamber of Commerce, who also help us with this webinar series, who will be our in-kind sponsors for the spring event. If you want to sign up for this networking event, it is on our website, so jenniferschaus.com, and just navigate over to the section called Events. I think it's about the third listing on that page. Okay, today's webinars, the reason our webinars are complimentary is thanks to the payments and support of our sponsors. We also want to thank our friends over at GovEvents. They're the premier platform for posting events related to government and government contracting. You can find actually all of our webinars and the recordings, as well as future events on govevents.com. We also want to thank Tom Johnson and his team at Set Aside Alert. They are the go-to publication for contracting opportunities for small, women-owned, veteran-owned, hub zone, and 8A firms. If you jump over to setasidealert.com, you'll get more information about the services and newsletter that Tom and his team put out. Also, the Fairfax County Economic Development Authority has an online calendar of events and webinars in the DC metro area. And we want to thank them for always posting our events and webinars on their calendar. Okay. The GovSpend FedMine platform is the resource that we use. They provide basically the data for this webinar series, and they have for the past several years. So the contracting data, again, is provided by the GovSpend and FedMine platform. Their vision is to be the leading trusted source of data, analytics, and insight for organizations buying and selling in the public sector. The FedMine Federal Solution integrates data from 18 federal data sources and sets and creates a single convenient database that places the key data points at your fingertips. GovSpend began as a spending and PO database, specifically within the state, local, and education sector. And today the database includes contract opportunities including state, local, and education, as well as federal, thanks to FedMine. So again, we want to thank them providing the data in today's webinar series and in the previous years as well. The Virginia PPEC at George Mason University offers free one-on-one counseling to established government contracting firms in Virginia on federal, state, and local procurement topics. If you're interested in learning more, just use the links provided to explore their services. They've got some homework recommendations. You can register for live trainings, and they've got other links to some self-directed learning as well. Online resources and group trainings are free with no restriction on where your business is located. They also offer one-on-one counseling. And if you want more information, you've got a phone number and an email address there. The Greater Reston Chamber of Commerce has a monthly Government Contracting Council meeting. It looks like it's coming up next week on Tuesday. As we reach the end of the month, it's out at their offices at the chamber, and you can email Alicia Field. Her email address is there at the bottom to get more information about registering. These meetings typically take place on the 4th Tuesday of each month. And as you can see, the next one is on the 28th. Next up, we want to thank the Government Contracting Academy, which is the leading industry training provider for small businesses. They offer comprehensive courses. I think they've got over 25 courses, 150 plus lessons for government contractors, small businesses, and they cover various aspects of government contracting. There's hundreds of business tools, templates, marketing templates, proposal sections that should help accelerate your company's success. The program is 100% actionable, and it's taught by proven government contracting executives. They also have an ISO potato quick cert program. And if you use the coupon code there, you can save a couple dollars, which is the SCHAUS 500. That'll give you $500 off of their trainings. BidSpeed, our friends over at BidSpeed, we want to thank them for their sponsorship in today's webinar series, as well as in our upcoming event on March 20th. Do you want help winning government contracts? BidSpeed helps and you win. Opportunities from every federal, state, local, and public source in the United States. Need to find a teaming partner, incumbent point of contact, expiring contracts, and more. What about a compliance matrix or proposal templates? Want a solution to win with your GSA schedule? Maybe an easier, better way. You can get more information at the phone number listed there at the bottom right, or you can shoot an email over to support@bidspeed.com. Of note, they are an official partner of the US SBA's 7J Management and Technical Assistance Program. And again, you can contact them at support@fedbidspeed.com. The Federal Business Council has been a longtime sponsor and supporter of our webinars. We want to thank them. Events are the ultimate engagement channel to bring government and industry together. 68% of government personnel report that they attend more than one event each year. Federal Business Council has worked with government and industry for 45 plus years to create gatherings where ideas are shared and to help government achieve its goals. This includes agency industry days, cybersecurity symposiums, tech expos, and off-site meetings. FBC provides full lifecycle meeting planning and event management. With over 5,000 meetings under their belt, FBC has the experience, systems, and personnel to make your next event exceptional. And you can learn more at fbcinc.com, which is listed there on the screen. Okay, now we're going to dig into the series and just give you guys an overview of our schedule. And a reminder that today's session is being recorded in case you're just joining us. You can sign up. It doesn't cost you anything to follow our YouTube channel. You'll get an alert as soon as today's webinar is uploaded. If you're looking for the PowerPoint, which obviously has all the links, it's also on a complimentary site called SlideShare. And then just type in the Jennifer L. Schaus, and that'll get you to our library of almost 600 PowerPoints on government contracting topics. Okay, here's the schedule as we go through the top 40 federal contractors. Today we're covering General Dynamics. Next week is Boeing. If you're looking for the recordings from Lockheed and Raytheon, they are on our website. Highlighted in yellow at the top is where you can find the full schedule and the links to register. And this just takes us through the top 40, which will end on November 15th, which is a Wednesday. The only Wednesday that we skip is July 4th, which I believe lands on a Tuesday. So we'll resume that on that July 19th. Again, this full schedule is on our website under the jennifershouse.com/top 40. Okay, we assume that the reason that most people are on the line today is because you're interested perhaps in subcontracting with General Dynamics. So a couple helpful links here on subcontracting, understanding the FAR, Federal Acquisition Regulations, and then the defense DFARs. We've got links to the subcontracting policies for the FAR as well as the DFARs. Those are on our YouTube channel, and again, complimentary. We've covered also some other webinars on subcontracting. We kicked off this season subcontracting with the primes, covering 6 different aspects of subcontracting. We've also done subcontracting opportunities, looking a deep dive into each of the federal departments. And then just there's over 30 webinars on various strategies and kind of the ins and outs on subcontracting that we've covered over the years. Okay, some best practices if you are subcontracting and you're targeting General Dynamics or any of the other large or perhaps other small businesses. You want to make sure that that you are defining what it is you're bringing to the table. If you're just flapping a flimsy capability statement in front of somebody, say that you're an 8A or veteran owner, women owner in a hub zone, and you provide, whatever it is, service or product, that's probably not going to fly. So you need to do something, know what you do and do it well, and be very focused and specific about that. The check boxes that you have are simply just a cherry on top. It makes you a little bit more attractive, but it's certainly not going to win you a contract because there's hundreds and thousands and hundreds of thousands of other companies that also have those check boxes. You also want to identify the specific opportunity, the solicitation, where you are going to be able to play a role and add value. So as you're talking to these companies, whether it's somebody just for a teaming engagement, or if you do want to subcontract, you should say, hey, the contract, you've got the contract number, it's coming up for recompete in June of 2023 or February of 2024. You should, again, be very specific. And your value can be anything from having worked in that department or agency, having a specific or unique capability, or maybe you have the lowest price. It has to be, again, very specific. You also want to do your homework, which we are kind of doing for you here, that anybody with a computer, an hour on their hands, can easily pull up all the information that we are providing today. So use all the databases that we've got listed here, and those are just a few that are listed. There's also plenty of data aggregators out there that I'm sure you guys are all familiar with. Again, just doing your homework and not just using the federal databases, but looking at Google Alerts and signing up for news about General Dynamics or whoever it is that you're looking to partner with can be helpful. Spending some time on their website, finding out what associations they're members of, what events are they attending, what trade shows are they involved in, where are they speaking, where can you shake some hands. Your capability statements should be customized, kind of going back to numbers 1, 2, and 3, to that company and to your specific value. So if you are providing landscaping services or engineering services or IT services, your capability statements should be specific to that, as well as where that intersects with the company. And then have a reason for contacting these folks. And before you contact them, make sure that you are registered on their website as a vendor, because that's the first thing that they are going to ask you to do. So if you've already done that, it shows that you've done your homework, you know that you kind of know the process, you're not new to federal contracting, that you've taken the time to educate yourself and learn some best practices. When you are connecting with these people on LinkedIn, the SBLOs can be a nice entry point, just as the OSDBUs are. So SBLOs are the Small Business Liaison Officers, and they are more or less responsible for ensuring that these businesses are meeting their subcontracting goals, amongst other things. Program managers are going to be just that. They're managing the actual programs that the company is overseeing. They're engaging with the government, probably on at a PM to PM level. So unless you've already gone through all these registration steps and you've got a customized capability statement, you should not then be just randomly reaching out to program managers. You want to make sure that you have something solid to offer them. Okay, now let's specifically talk about General Dynamics today. Some basic information. You've got their website. And again, if you are doing business with them, make sure you know their mission statement, who's the chairman, CEO. You should be cognizant of their stock price, and knowing that most of their business does come from defense contracting, not only with the US government, but if you've followed the news on Google, and it's just simply signing up for a Google News alert, you'll see that they were just recently awarded a foreign military contract with the British Army for a sizable amount. So having this information and being able to speak intelligently to your point of contact within General Dynamics can certainly be helpful. A little bit of fluctuation there in their stock price over the years, but obviously it looks like it's fairly healthy here. And again, this is just kind of background information and good to know. Again, to help set yourself apart from the other companies so that you are showing a vested interest in the company and that you are intelligent and can speak well about the homework findings that you've come across. Okay, if you're looking to register in their small business portal, it's pretty simple. It's just the /suppliers, and it probably wouldn't help you. Would help you to dig around on that site just to look at the various divisions within General Dynamics. They're obviously a large, very large business. The parent company, just so for future homework after today's webinar, you've got the UAI there that you can plug into the sam.gov database to get more information. These guys obviously are for profit. Their main business type is considered manufacturing, and they're based out in Reston. So for anyone that's local today, they're right here in the DMV. LinkedIn information is always helpful. You want to make sure you're following their company, where you'll also get a lot of news, which may or may not mirror what you see on just your Google alert news. They've got listed almost 10,000 employees on their LinkedIn with quite a few followers. They're obviously on the New York Stock Exchange, so keep that in mind as you're looking for the SBLOs. Just take a closer look at the actual job titles. So I'm just going to go on the left-hand side. Lynn Simmons, is she going to be the best SBLO? It looks like maybe she had that title in the past, or that she's doing it for their specific supply chain operations. So if that's a service that you're providing, if your company is, if your main line of business is focused on supply chain, then she's probably your contact. If you're not focused on supply chain, don't contact her. The other folks seem to be subcontracts managers, meaning that they're probably dealing more with, and look also at where they're located physically, which will give you some insight into the work that they do. So again, before you contact them, make sure you have a reason and don't just click the connect button. Do the connect with a message that will get you much further, and it's only going to take an extra 3 minutes of your time to craft something intelligent as to why you're contacting them. Okay, now we're going to look at kind of where they've been, General Dynamics over the past couple fiscal years, as well as kind of where they are. Obviously, they're a big defense contractor, but we're going to start here with civilian. And as you can see, we went back to fiscal year 2018 simply because during COVID, which the COVID years, we'll say 2020 and 2021, for some companies, we see some spikes and Other companies, we see some dips depending upon the nature of their business and their primary NAICS. So you want to keep that in mind, that sometimes those are not exactly trends, that those were anomalies just based on the pandemic. So as you look at these numbers and line them up with the agencies that GDIT is doing work with, just be cognizant of that. Also of note, in fiscal year 2023, those are just year-to-date numbers. And so that is, those are incomplete numbers. So that's why some of those will look a little bit smaller than others. Of note, though, is HHS and GSA more or less over the years come in at the number 1 and 2 spot. In 2020, however, Department of Justice came in at the number 1 spot, and Commerce came in at number 2. And the year before, 2019, Commerce was in the number 3 spot. So there could have been a large contract, and that's incumbent upon you to click through FBDS and SAM and USA spending to get more of those details. These are high-level overviews to kind of help guide you. So again, just keep those numbers in mind as you're looking at where the money falls. You can also take the approach of, hey, there's a couple dollars at the NTSB, the National Transportation Safety Board. So maybe you want to kind of stay away from where the herd is going, where there's going to be more competition, and pick perhaps not just randomly, but with a purpose. If you're picking NTSB, perhaps you have a contact there, perhaps you've done work there before, perhaps your main line of business is related to transportation safety. So don't, again, pick and choose based on data and purpose. Have a reason, a specific reason that's not whimsical, that is valid in nature. Okay, and I'm going to actually jump back here and just take a look at the bottom numbers. And this is total civilian and legislative, or just more of the independent agencies, which includes the former BBG, which is now USAGM, and then National Archives. But if you look at the actual numbers here, they are going to pale in comparison to what we see for fiscal year 18 through 23 for DoD, which is where we're going next. Okay, so when we look at defense, you can see that Navy by far is the big winner here. Or I guess we should say GDIT is the big winner here for Navy. Again, 2023 is incomplete because that is the fiscal year that we are currently in. On top of that, Department of Defense usually is delayed by a couple months in reporting. So keep that in mind. But when you look at the bottom line dollars here, you've got 13, 15, 21, 16, and 21 billion in dollars, compared to, I think it was about 1 to 3 or so on the civilian side. So don't go after defense unless you know that you are meeting all of the DFAR requirements on subcontracting, and that was on that earlier slide where we give you the links to the FAR and the DFAR's subcontracting. It wouldn't hurt to listen to those webinars to ensure that you do meet all of the requirements, as well as digging down into the specific contracts, and we'll look at those in just a moment. But as you can see here on the defense side, more or less from 2018 and 2019, the dollars between Navy and Army were kind of 50-50. When we get to 2020 and 2021, there's a big leap there for spending at the Navy with General Dynamics. Again, so you probably want to investigate that. Is it related to COVID? Was there some other contract vehicle or specific contract? Where did those dollars actually come from? So again, you can use this information to your advantage if, as you're kind of planning your strategy and working with GDIT, if their core business aligns with yours and their relationships align with yours, or yours perhaps complement theirs. The top 5 NAICS codes, as we're talking about line of business, shipbuilding and repair comes in as the big winner here. behind engineering services, all the way down to computer system design services. So a little bit of everything. And if you look on their website, you'll see that General Dynamics is divided into subsidiaries based on the nature of the work that they are doing. So just because computer system design services looks here like there's not a ton of dollars, it's still millions of dollars and a decent amount of contracts and opportunities to subcontract either in the first position or being a tier 2 or 3 subcontractor. So again, do your homework and just be, even if you're only going after, let's say your company provides computer system design services under that NAICS, make sure that you are cognizant of the other services that that the company is providing, again, to simply sound intelligent and show that you've done your homework. This slide is helpful also just because it goes back to 2016, so you can see the evolution or any declines in any of their business lines. Okay, now the contracting requirement simply translates to contracts that are $750,000 or above. The business then must subcontract out a portion of that contract to small businesses. Well, to businesses. Sometimes those businesses actually tend to be large businesses or to be a subsidiary of the parent company. So we'll look at civilian, and these will somewhat mirror what we saw just on their regular or their overall civilian contracts. We talked about commerce having a big showing for General Dynamics in 2019 and 2020. And 2023 again are partial numbers, but 2022 is where they kind of come in with a decent amount of contracts that have been subcontracted out. So again, if you are doing work at commerce, use this data, use this information to your advantage to be more strategic. HHS, state, and DHS are really the top winners here. The slide is really not in numerical or financial order. So again, HHS, state, and DHS, followed by transportation in the fourth position are your big winners, again, on civilian subcontracted dollars. Now, when we jump over to defense, you're going to see some interesting numbers here where Army actually is the winner for the larger contracts. So when we looked at the overall contracts for General Dynamics, we noticed that Navy had the propensity of the dollars, but when we're looking at the actual subcontracted dollars, Army is where the bulk of the work is. Again, that's because, again, the subcontracting is $750,000 or above. Those contracts valued at $750K or more will need to be subcontracted out. A portion are subcontracted out. So again, this is just information to then allow you to do additional homework. And now we're going to slice out the independent agencies, where GSA, as we saw from the earlier slides, when their overall dollars also was in kind of the top position. And this is not just referring to, I should just say, let me rephrase, this is not referring to GSA scheduled contracts. This is actual work with GSA. My guess is that we haven't really dug into this at a more granular level, but my guess is probably with PBS, the Public Building Service, just based on GSA's Public Building Service, simply based on the nature of the top NAICS codes at General Dynamics. So sometimes you just have to piece things together and make assumptions, but then you want to obviously back that up by doing some research on sam.gov or, again, any of the other sites that are out there or any of the paid data aggregators that you might be using. And then, I mean, GSA really takes the cake here, followed again by NASA, SEC. It looks like there's a bump there. I'm guessing that's probably some sort of computer IT services work. Again, you would have to click through these to get more details. And you also probably want to look at let me just roll back here. Any of these where perhaps you're already engaged and maybe you've got a friend or two or three over at General Dynamics that you can leverage the relationship to try to win some contracts there, but you then want to dig in and see, you know, what's coming up for recompete that's within my NAICS code or my PSC or whatever it is. You need to, again, do additional homework and leverage your value proposition, relationships, and anything unique that you're bringing to the table. Okay, now we are looking at, as you can read, the subcontracts awarded by General Dynamics to the various agencies. And this includes defense and civilian kind of lumped together. So we've got Navy and Army. VA kind of pops up where I don't think we saw much of them in the earlier slides, so that would require some drilling down. GSA we've seen, HHS we've talked about, Department of Defense, and then it's listed in there as a separate line item. I'm just kind of going down the list here. Maybe that is through the OSD. Okay, and now we're going to look at the contracts awarded by industry. And so these are kind of going to mirror the NAICS codes. And so the computer system design services is really where the bulk of their subcontracts are going. So if this is a service that you provide and you do it well and you've got some past performance in some of these departments or agencies where GDIT is playing, there's obviously, and these numbers are in the billions, there's some good opportunity here. However, everybody and their brother is probably also going there. So in the event that you're on the line or listening to this as a recording, and let's say you're providing some military armored vehicle tanks or some components of those or calibration or something that is involved in manufacturing those, you probably stand a chance to win a couple subcontracts as well. And now these are the subcontracts that are going to the actual subcontractors. A lot of times we will see companies awarding subcontracts to large businesses, which is certainly allowed. And if you've ever looked at or completed a sub-K plan, you'll see that various percentages are allocated towards large businesses as well as small businesses. So as you can see, Amazon Web Services falls in here, and they've gotten a good chunk of the subcontracting awards. The point I'm going to make here is simply that you can be a tier 2 or 3 subcontractor to any of these companies, or your company might even show up on this list. And keep in mind, we only listed the top, what are these, 3, 6, 9, 10. So there's still plenty more below Serco Incorporated. But again, keep in mind that all of these companies probably have their own, listed here, also have their own direct contracts with the government. Again, this is just giving you more data where you can find some commonalities, some intersection where your business is intersecting with these companies that will get you closer to working with GDIT, assuming that you've done homework on research, kind of their average prices on any of the contract vehicles where you can find that public data, and you really have a reason for working with GDIT or General Dynamics. Okay, and now we'll look at the top 5 subcontracts reported. Again, this is information that if you took the Prime Award, you can drill down to get more information. And again, here they have awarded subcontracts to to some of their own commonly owned businesses. The sub-award contractor, American Systems Corporation, for engineering services, there's a big chunk there. Gator Technologies, Applied Physical Sciences Corp, Southwest Research Institute, and Techno Corporation. I will say this, what we've noticed over the course of just doing 3 of these webinars is a lot of times you'll see the subcontractor being a research institute, sometimes a university. So don't be shy about working with them or contacting any of these educational institutions or institutes. Again, if your businesses are aligned with theirs, you don't want to do it without a reason. Okay, and we also felt it would be helpful to share the top 5 GWACs that General Dynamics has. They may have more than these 5, I'm sure that they do, but we went back through 2021, and you can look at the revenue. This is in millions over the years. 2022 seemed to be a good year for their Alliant 2 contract vehicle, CIO SP3. Also saw a nice spike in 2022. And the RS3 Large is an Army contract. It is a 10-year contract. I think there's about 100, almost 200 companies on that contract vehicle. It's a mix of large actually and small, valued at $37.4 billion with a B. I think they have already released phase 2 of that, but it covers everything and anything from computers, communication, command, control, intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance. A simple Google search will give you more information about the RS3 Army contract. And oftentimes you do not need to be on that same contract vehicle. Sometimes you do. You need to read the terms and conditions of each of these contract vehicles. But for example, the straight vanilla GSA schedule, in order to be a subcontractor, you do not need to somebody on the schedule, you do not need to have that schedule. Okay, so just take a look at these numbers, and again, keep in mind that 2023 is partial, so there is some potential opportunity for growth unless any of the contract vehicles have been sunset or the money has been otherwise spent. And these are the actual numbers on where they break down in the percentage. And again, we just really gave you a complete look at 2021 versus 2022, and 2023 obviously is incomplete. But some good numbers there. And again, this is not a comprehensive list of their GWACs. A company of this size is going to have more than just 5. Okay, and the reason we looked at the contracts that are valued at 750 and above that are expiring is simply because those are the contracts that require a subcontracting plan. And this will be I believe, our last slide. So as you can see here, you've got General Dynamics Land Systems, you've got their GDIT, you've got GD Mission Systems. So these are just the different subsidiaries or sister companies within the parent. And we gave you the UEI in the beginning. So you can simply copy and paste the contract number once you get the slides to dig in a little bit further on expiration date and just the nature of where the contracts are. Do you meet the requirements if it's a DoD contract, or maybe it's something at as we mentioned, HHS, state, DHS, transportation, Department of Commerce. So again, this is high-level information that allows you then to kind of run with some hard facts to plug into your own data subscription service or onto any of the other public websites. So I want to thank everybody for participating. Next week, I believe we're covering Boeing. You'll find today's recording on our YouTube channel. If you click on that link and sign up, again, it doesn't cost you anything. You'll get a little note that says we've uploaded today's webinar, and that'll take you right to the recording. If you're looking just for the slides, PowerPoint slides, they are on the slideshare.net site. And yes, next week we'll take us into March. We'll cover Boeing and go through the list. All of these are listed on our website. The recordings are also listed on the website, which is the jennifershouse.com/top40. So either YouTube or our website will have the recording as well as the sign up link. Again, don't forget our spring soiree on Monday, March 20th. We're going to have 2 Navy groups there, Navy NAVFAC Facilities, and NAVAIR, as well as DHS, HHS, Department of Commerce, MBDA, Department of Ed, Amtrak, and Metro. We want to thank our many sponsors who help make our events as well as webinars possible. And that takes us to the end of today's webinar. We will get the recording and the slides out within 24 hours. Again, if it happens before that, which it usually does, you'll get an alert if you're following our YouTube channel. Thanks, everybody. Have a good rest of your day.